You feel it too, don't you? Something between you has changed, and no matter how much you try to ignore it, your heart keeps returning to that quiet, unsettling truth. Maybe nothing dramatic happened. No argument, no goodbye, no slammed doors, no shattered promises. And yet, something is different. The silence feels heavier now. Their voice sounds the same, but it no longer reaches you in the same way. Their presence is still there. But somehow, the warmth has shifted, like standing in sunlight that no longer feels warm on your skin. And what makes it harder is this: you can't explain it. You replay moments in your mind, tiny changes, a pause that lasted a little too long, a message that felt colder than usual, a look in their eyes that seemed distant, as if part of them had already stepped away while their body remained. And deep down, beneath all logic, beneath all denial, you know. Human beings are strange creatures. We sense change before we understand it. Carl Jung once said, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed." And transformation, whether beautiful or painful, always leaves traces. Sometimes what changed between two souls is not love, but illusion. Sometimes it is not distance, but awakening. Sometimes the connection is not dying, it is evolving into something neither of you expected. So tonight, listen closely, because what you've been feeling may not be confusion at all. It may be truth quietly knocking at the door of your soul. Part 1, the silence that says more than words. There is a silence that heals, and there is a silence that haunts. You know the difference. Healing silence feels safe, like sitting beside someone without needing to speak, yet feeling deeply understood. It is peaceful, warm, full of invisible connection. But haunting silence, that is different. It enters the room like a shadow. It makes you question everything. It fills your chest with a quiet ache you cannot name. Perhaps that is what you are feeling now. You speak, but something feels unanswered, even when they reply. You laugh together, but the laughter feels thinner somehow, like music played through a cracked speaker. Their eyes still meet yours, but only briefly. Their attention wanders. Their energy feels elsewhere, as if their spirit is standing at a distance, even when they are right beside you. And here is the painful truth most people avoid. Energy changes before behavior changes. The soul notices what the mind has not yet accepted. This is why your intuition keeps whispering, something is off. Not because you are overthinking, but because some part of you is deeply awake. Nietzsche wrote, "There is always some madness in love, but there is also always some reason in madness." That restless feeling inside you, that quiet madness, is often reason disguised as emotion. Your heart is recognizing what your conscious mind is still trying to deny. Think of a tree in late autumn. At first glance, it still looks alive. Branches stand tall, shape remains unchanged. But look closer. The leaves have started falling. The season has shifted, even if the tree still resembles what it once was. Relationships change this way too. Not suddenly, quietly, invisibly, leaf by leaf. Sometimes what changed is affection, sometimes trust, sometimes longing, and sometimes what changed is you. Because growth makes old dynamics feel unfamiliar. You begin noticing what you once tolerated. You begin sensing what once escaped you. You begin craving depth where once surface-level connection was enough. And that awakening can feel like loss. Even when it is transformation, the question is not simply, have they changed? The deeper question is, what is this silence trying to teach you? Part 2. When your soul outgrows the connection. There is a quiet grief that comes when your spirit begins to awaken, not awakening in some dramatic, mystical sense, but in the deeply human way, the way you suddenly start seeing clearly, the way your heart becomes less willing to accept crumbs where it once called them a feast, the way your soul whispers, "This no longer fits who I am becoming." And that realization can break you open, because part of you still remembers what this connection once felt like. You remember the spark, the depth, the sense of being seen. You remember conversations that stretched into the night, laughter that felt effortless, moments so small yet so sacred that you thought, this is rare, this is real. But now, something feels strangely hollow. You keep reaching for what once existed only to touch air. You revisit old memories like walking through an abandoned house, familiar walls, familiar rooms, but no life inside them, only echoes, and that is where suffering begins, when we cling to a version of reality that no longer exists. The Buddha taught, attachment is the root of suffering, not love, attachment, not connection, but clinging. Clinging to what was, clinging to who someone used to be, clinging to how they once made you feel. But life moves, people evolve, hearts transform, and sometimes souls separate long before bodies do. Picture a child trying to wear shoes from years ago. The shoes are beautiful, they once fit perfectly. They carried them through important seasons of life, but now they hurt, they squeeze, they restrict movement, not because the shoes are bad, but because growth has happened. This is what outgrowing a connection feels like. You start longing for conversations with more honesty, more depth, more meaning. Superficial words begin exhausting you. Emotional inconsistency becomes unbearable. You crave peace more than passion, truth more than fantasy, presence more than promises. Carl Jung believed that much of human pain comes from living unconsciously, from repeating patterns without awareness. But awakening changes that. Suddenly, you see dynamics clearly, where you overgave, where they underappreciated, where silence replaced sincerity, where fear disguised itself as love. And once seen, truth cannot be unseen. That is why this change feels so intense. It is not just about them. It is about the version of you that is quietly dying, the version willing to settle for less than what your awakened soul now knows it deserves. And death of the old self is never painless, but it is sacred, because every ending inside you makes room for a deeper beginning. So ask yourself honestly, are you mourning the person, or mourning the old version of yourself that once found comfort in what now feels empty? That question changes everything. Part 3, the invisible distance between two hearts. There is a strange kind of heartbreak that few people talk about. It is not betrayal, it is not abandonment, it is not even conflict. It is the quiet realization that someone who once felt deeply connected to your soul now feels emotionally elsewhere. And somehow that hurts in a way words can barely touch. Because what do you grieve when nothing bad happened? How do you explain the pain of feeling someone slowly become unfamiliar, even while they remain in your life? How do you describe the loneliness of being beside someone, yet feeling unseen, unheard, untouched in the places that matter most? This is the invisible distance between two hearts. It begins subtly. You stop sharing the little things, the random thought that made you smile, the fear you kept hidden all day, the dream that quietly lives in your chest, not because you have nothing to say, but because something in you senses. They are no longer listening with the same heart. And when emotional safety fades, the soul retreats inward. Lao Tzu wrote, "Care about what other people think, and you will always be their prisoner." Many people stay trapped in fading connections because they fear being misunderstood, judged, or left behind. So they perform closeness instead of cultivating truth. They smile while feeling empty. They text while feeling disconnected. They say, "Everything's fine," while carrying oceans of quiet sadness. Modern life makes this worse. Today, we are more connected than ever. Messages instantly delivered, voices heard across continents, faces visible through screens. Yet emotionally, many people have never felt more alone. We have mastered communication, but forgotten communion. There is a difference. Communication is exchanging words. Communion is exchanging souls. One fills silence, the other fills emptiness. Think of two musicians playing the same song. If they are truly in sync, they create harmony, something alive, something felt. But if even one is slightly out of rhythm, the melody becomes strained. The notes still play, yet the music is no longer beautiful. Relationships are no different. You can still talk, still meet, still laugh, still exist in each other's world. But if your hearts are no longer moving in rhythm, the soul hears the discord. And this is where a painful truth emerges. Not every connection is meant to remain what it once was. Some people enter your life to awaken you, not accompany you forever. Some arrive to teach love. Some arrive to teach loss. Some arrive to teach you the sacred difference between attachment and alignment. And perhaps what you are feeling now is not rejection. Perhaps it is life gently showing you. When hearts grow in different directions, love may remain, but closeness cannot be forced. That truth is heavy, but it is also liberating, because what is real never requires you to beg for emotional presence. What is true meets you willingly. What is meant for your soul will not feel like chasing shadows. Part 4. What change is trying to give you? Here is the truth most hearts resist. You keep focusing on what changed between you and them, when life may be trying to show you what must change within you. That is the deeper invitation hidden inside heartbreak, distance, and quiet emotional shifts. Not merely to understand them, but to rediscover yourself. Because somewhere along the way, many people slowly abandon themselves in the name of connection. They shrink their truth to keep peace. They silence their needs to avoid seeming difficult. They overgive, over-explain, overweight, hoping love will eventually become mutual, hoping patience will transform uncertainty into clarity, hoping effort alone can revive what two souls no longer nurture equally. But hope, when tied to illusion, becomes a cage. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That wisdom is timeless. You cannot force someone to feel deeply. You cannot negotiate emotional availability. You cannot resurrect a version of a connection that time, truth, or growth has already transformed. But you can choose what this moment shapes you into. You can become bitter or become wiser. You can become guarded or become discerning. You can spend years asking, why did they change? Or you can ask the question that heals, what is this experience awakening in me? Maybe it is self-respect, maybe boundaries, maybe emotional maturity, maybe the courage to stop chasing what no longer chooses you with the same heart. Camus believed that in the midst of winter, he discovered within himself an invincible summer. That is what pain often reveals, not weakness, but hidden strength waiting beneath sorrow. And perhaps this change between you and them was never the ending of your story. Perhaps it was the ending of your illusion. The illusion that love must be painful to be meaningful. The illusion that longing equals destiny. The illusion that being chosen by someone else determines your worth. It does not. Your worth existed before them. It remains after them. And it is untouched by anyone's inability to meet you where your soul stands. So if you feel it, that quiet knowing that something between you has changed, do not rush to numb it. Do not deny it. Do not fear it. Listen. Because truth often first arrives as a feeling before it becomes understanding. And sometimes what breaks your heart open becomes the very thing that sets your spirit free. Ask yourself tonight, what if this change is not taking something from you, but guiding you towards something truer than what you were holding on to? If that question stirred something deep in you, then perhaps your soul already knows the answer.